What's going on, everybody? It's Clint from the Die Hard MMA Podcast. This is odds.com. Click the link below to watch this week's episode, UFC Vegas 20. My boy Lock of the Night joins me. We have a real good time breaking down the fights. Hopefully we found some good spots to make some cash. Good luck on all your action this week, and thank you for the support. So what is our next fight confirmed so far on the card is a light heavyweight tilt that's really got me confused, man. William Knight taking on Alonzo Menifield. This is a pick'em. It looks like a little bit of money has started coming in on Alonzo. He's shaded to the slight favorite at this point. William Knight, Dana White Contender Series guy, most recently in the UFC, 9-1. Alonzo Menifield, I believe, also came off the Contender Series. He is 9-2. So really, from their career standpoints, a good matchup. William Knight's going to be a little bit smaller. He's an absolute monster. Both these guys, Dana White was like, bro, fit as many muscles into the octagon as you can on Saturday. And he was like, I got you. And they're going to throw these two absolute animals into the cage and see what happens. William Knight's a guy that you feel like his cardio's bad, but he does the Yoel Romero explode and reload thing. He manages to redline and then somehow keep going in the fight, something that keeps him dangerous, honestly, all the way through the entire fight. He's very strong. He does well against the cage, grappling, fighting for underhooks, stuff like that. He's got heavy leg kicks, and he's got really slick transitions on the mat, man. He's got underrated submissions and transitions in his ground game, but he leaves his chin right up in the air. That's something I noticed, that he always has his head right up in the air. And Alonzo Menifield, Fortis MMA, we know so far in the UFC, he's only had about one round of gas. Anytime someone's been able to grapple him and get him into the second round, he's just not nearly as dangerous as he was the round before. It seems like it's something he's working on, though. Believe it or not, I feel like he's almost getting a little bit more shredded and slimming down a little bit, as opposed to being as fluffy as he used to be with all that muscle. So I think that's something he's actively working on. He's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage here. He's going to have a slight height advantage. And man, I almost feel like this is one of those spots where the stock couldn't be lower on Alonzo Menifield. He's fought the higher level of competition, and now he's getting William Knight, a guy that all of us are excited about, and I personally am a huge fan of. I've had some interactions with William Knight in the DMs on Instagram, not to have my 5 seconds of fame here. I really like the guy, but I got a bad feeling about him keeping that chin up, man. I feel like if Menifield can come out and make some improvements based off his last couple of losses, he might get back in the win column here. What are you thinking on this one?
The one thing that I look at is William Knight has been into the third round 3 times, and he's 3-0 in those fights. Whereas the only time we've ever seen Alonzo Menifield in the third round, he got out-grappled or outworked, I should say, by Devin Clark. Now, this is a tricky one, right? This could be one of those fights where, both guys, heavy punchers, everybody's expecting the under 1.5 to hit here and absolute bombs flying either which way, right? But I could also see an instance where we see William Knight go out there, push Alonzo Menifield up against the cage, and just try to grind him out. That the Alexa Kamor fight is pretty much that fight the entire time. It's just these guys grappling on each other, laying on each other, skin to skin, not letting the power of either guy really clip each other, right?
Yeah.
So that's the main issue here. I just based on what we have in terms of facts and evidence, I lean the William Knight side here just because he seems a little bit more durable. He seems like, I don't want to say he should be able to get the takedowns here, because Devin Clark very much struggled to get Alonzo Menifield down, even though Alonzo Menifield was gassed to shit by that third round. But
he almost died getting there.
He almost died getting there, exactly. But William Knight just shows a little bit more. And obviously the level of competition is much, much different. I think the best person that William Knight has faced to date was Tafon Nchukwi, and that was another similar fight where you have two guys that just throw absolute haymakers, yet it went into the second round and we saw Tafon get the finish there. My gut is saying William Knight, but my head is just saying, stay the fuck away from this fight, because it could go either freaking way. But I lean the William Knight side because we see a little bit more than just knockout power. And that's all we've seen Menifield get away with, right? If you go back to his Contender Series fight, he gets Deshaun Boatwright out of there in 8 seconds. What does that tell us? Nothing. Then he gets Vinicius Morea, very stylistically great fight for him, avoids the grappling, knocks him out. Paul Craig, Vinicius Moreira 2.0 pretty much. Both guys just want to go out there and grapple, try to get their submission going. And if they're not, they're going to get knocked the hell out. And that's exactly what Menifield did to them. But then when he started to fight other guys that can do more than just that, then he starts coming up on the losing end, right? Devin Clark, good grappler, good clincher. Ovin St. Preux. I was very happy to hit the underdog money on that one because I just felt like OSP would be able to move well enough, use his kicks to kind of keep the range. And that was to a T what happened, right? He was digging to the body with that teep, and it worked for him over and over again. Now, is William Knight going to be able to do a similar type of game plan? I'm not 100% sure. I think it's more so going to be a clinch fest up against the cage, try to stay away from the power of both guys. And then if he's able to, drag this fight to the ground. But if not, it's just going to be I think it's going to be a clinch fest. I don't think either guy's going to get knocked out here. I'd go with the William Knight side because we've seen it from him. And I'd probably go William Knight by decision, depending on what those odds are, if we get juicy enough odds there. But I lean the Knight side here. I'm not really understanding the Alonzo Menifield love unless they think he's going to get the knockout, because we haven't seen him win by anything else, right? So I'm on Knight here. Not 100% sure if I'll be betting it, though.
I absolutely can understand that, man. And I really hope William Knight isn't watching the show, because I bet on him last time out, and I love the guy, and I hate making those cool relationships with fighters and then going against them. But I really feel like Alonzo might be primed to get that shot here. And the thing that kind of gets me here is that Knight doesn't really push the grappling. People grapple him. Like, he wants to strike. Yeah. And then his opponents are the ones who kind of initiate the grappling, and he ends up just being able to like surprise them and come out on top in that area. If he's not able to wrestle the way that Devin Clark did and really drain on Alonzo Menifield, if he's not able to wear on him the way that OSP did and drag him out late, I mean, if this is just, like you said, if they're going to hang out, if they're going to kind of stand and strike, try to avoid each other a little bit, this could be a lot more slow-paced. And if it's a lot more slow-paced, then that means the power from Menifield is still going to be there in the second round, and he might still be fresh enough in the third round to not necessarily get that knockout, but maybe be more active in the striking. Like, so I don't know, man, with the height, the size, the reach, the better level of competition, I just feel like at a pick'em price, everything's pointing towards Menifield. If you gave me, a big dog number on Knight, I'd be on that side all day. But I kind of feel like for my side of things, it's Alonzo or pass.
I think the sneaky play here could also be the over 1.5, which is around -120. I know you do your Total Madness show, so maybe that's something that you could look at over there. But I think this might be a more slow-paced fight where both guys are a little bit too hesitant to overexpose themselves and maybe finding themselves in clinch positions more often than not. So -120 for the over 1.5, not too shabby. And we got Clint yelling at his dog, so it's all good.
Did the microphone catch that, man?
It did not, but I'm assuming that you told your dog to shut the hell up.
Because I'm like, that stupid dog is barking at people driving by, and I mute the microphone, and I'm like, if I just screamed on the show, like, I don't mind talking about it. We all know I did it, but I didn't want the scream to just make the ears bleed, rip headphone users here if I'm screaming at the dog.
Somebody was going to clip it, right? Somebody was going to clip that and use it all over fucking Twitter.
Man, you can't do anything on the internet anymore. It's not safe. It's not safe. Keep your kids at home.
Exactly.
Man, I like the look on the over 1.5. Honestly, I think that's a half decent spot. And call me crazy, I might go over 2.5 on this one too. I feel like
playing with fire there.
I'm telling you, man. I think that decision is coming because, like you said, William Knight's been late and he's undefeated going 3 rounds. And Menifield is hard to finish, dude. Yeah. If this thing gets to round 2, I don't know if either of these guys are going to have the gas to finish the other. It could get sloppy. So fight goes to decision at plus 275. Maybe that's a
I'm a Fortis MMA stan, right? Like, I love Saif Saud. I believe he draws up great game plans for his opponents, but I feel like with Menifield, he has a guy that's kind of limited, like with the cardio and not really able to put more together than his knockout punches. But I'd be interested to see like if they learn anything from the last 2 fights and how he can really round out his game. If there's any coach that can do it, it's James Krause or Saif Saud, in my opinion.
Exactly.
So yeah, they're in good hands.
We'll be talking about James Krause in just a little bit, won't we?
Oh, yeah.
And I got to go ahead and shout this out. VS115212. My facial hair wishes it could grow up to be Manpreet's facial hair. I do the Khabib, I do the Hamzat, because to be honest, I can't do the mustache, man. It just doesn't come in. You know those creepy looking porn stars? Like they like zoom in here and it's just like this stringy, nasty, like it's just off. That's me. That's what I look like. Like I'm already not the sexiest man in the world. If I grew a mustache, it would be worse. My wife would never forgive me. So
you got to do some sort of like playoff beard type of thing where you let the mustache go as well too, just so we can see it. Come on,
right?
I think your viewers deserve to see it.
Maybe, you know what? We'll have to do like a likes challenge or something like that. Be like, if the video gets to a certain number of likes, I won't shave for 2 months or something. I don't know. My wife won't forgive me if I do that. All right.